Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is to create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure. Today we have a package that came from eBay, but it only contains one item. So I'm going to combine this with a bit of a plunder video. If you're unfamiliar with my channel, I'm always out at garage sales and thrift shops. A lot of times when I find things at garage sales and thrift shops, I'll try to make a little short. So if you watch my shorts channel, this is these plunder videos are sort of your chance to get a closer look or a more in-depth look at some of the things that I find on my little, minute-long videos or 30 seconds or however long they are. If you hear some noise in the background, that's because I have small children, and they are being small children. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get into this, and we'll talk about sort of why I purchased this and what I'm hoping to get out of it. I sometimes will grab eBay packages that I'm pretty sure have gold in them. Usually what'll happen is it will be, there'll be those things that say, what do you call it? Make an offer. And it'll be late and I'll be tired and I'll just throw an offer on there that I don't think they're going to take. And then sometimes I take it. So that'll happen a lot. Sometimes there's just a nice buy it now on something. And I think that was the case here. And in fact, instead of doing my usual thing where I try to remember how much I paid for something, I'm going to stop the video for a second. I'll find out exactly what I did pay for this. $16.50 after shipping. So if this is gold, I think I'll be a happy camper. If it's not gold, I still think it's pretty cool. So let's open it up. We'll have a look. And at the end of the video too, I'll include the eBay photos. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And then of course, all of this stuff, we'll try to get through all of this. These are all just various finds. And I like to explain why I purchased them. So this is pretty small. And I knew it would be pretty small. Let's make sure we don't hurt it. And actually, small is good for this type of thing because it increases the likelihood that it actually is made out of solid gold and isn't plated or made out of gold fill. The daintier these are, the better off you are in terms of having gotten yourself a bit of gold. And man, having it in person, I'm thinking those pictures were pretty good for it being probably gold, but we'll test it here momentarily. So the thing that attracts me to an object like this is, you see how we have actual hand engraving. We're not talking about something that's stamped. All of that little decoration across the top there is hand engraved and hand carved. And as you can see, when they're carving down into the piece, especially along the top there, they're not getting to another metal. So it's not like and actually, let me grab my little pointer here. I can show you exactly what I mean. See right in here, you can see the work marks where the file went through there. And they didn't get down to a base metal. So if we look at the edge, we're seeing one consistent piece of metal here. We're not seeing two different metals. So if it's plate, or if it's gold fill, for example, which is sort of like a thick plate of gold on top of a plate of brass, typically, you're gonna, when you go through this deep, you're basically going all the way through the material, and you're going to expose something underneath. So I think that the piece on top is looking very likely for gold. Now, sometimes these things will actually have like this piece of gold on top will be mated to a piece or put onto a piece of brass to give it more thickness, and then you'll see that there's like plate and then brass. And in this case, that's not happening. So we don't have a gold pin. We have an old-fashioned pin. We don't have a gold pin, but this piece I'm certain is going to be gold. Probably 10 karat. Most of these end up being about 10 karat. And now if we look, we're looking at the back. We've got the right shine. We've got all the little micro scratches. If If we look at the edge, it's nice and thin. And again, we have hand work all the way around. You know, hand engraving. This was all taken out by hand when they did this, and we're not seeing any other kind of metals going on here. And underneath the enamel, we're not seeing any other kind of metals. Now, the other thing that's noteworthy here, and why these things sometimes end up going under the radar as gold, is that, you know, we have lead solder here. And then that gives you discoloration on the gold. And the reason for that is because of the enamel. The gold solder is too high heat and it will damage the enamel, so they have to use something that's lower heat like lead when they're putting things onto it. And this one looks to be, in my opinion, repaired. You see here how this is different than this? So I think maybe these fell off or got ripped off at one point and were possibly replaced. They don't look like they're necessarily original to it. So the question is it gold? And I'm going to go off and test this. Before I do, I'm going to weigh it real quick here. Now, of course, the pin isn't gold, so you have to discount a little bit for that. But we paid $16.50 for this. So if it is 10 karat gold, did we do okay? So if it's a gram of gold, you know, so we're gonna way overestimate how much that pin weighs. If this is a gram of gold, we still have 40 bucks just in gold here. So this is a real good example of, if you know what you're looking at, you can actually get some good single pieces off of eBay. It's very rare that you can get good single pieces off of eBay in terms of gold weight, but it can happen. And I think that's what's occurred in this case. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and test this. And I think I'm going to test something else while I'm at it. This piece, I picked this up when I was on a trip at a consignment store, and it's marked silver. It's 925, and I think these are silver, but I think, and I'm going to test it right now. You see these gold-looking beads? They're hollow, and I'm not seeing any indications that they are plated. And if they were plated, even plated silver, I think these chains would be wearing through that plating. And all the wear we see is just exposing more gold. So we can go ahead and test these, but I'm thinking that this is probably going to come up, especially see all those divots and dings in there, not exposing any kind of metal other than gold. I'm thinking these are probably going to come up as 14 karat. And that happens quite a bit. These are definitely sterling, and you can see here that it's marked as such. So I think we probably have a sterling and gold chain. Now, of course, from a stacker perspective, how much gold was in this that I paid my $6 for, it's a little frustrating because the only way to know that would be to disassemble it, which the funny thing is, this is just a split ring. I probably can disassemble that. Maybe I'll be away from the camera for longer than I was planning. And we're back. All right, so these two different pieces tested out slightly differently. When you're doing the acid testing, 10 karat will hold real strong with the 10 karat acid, and this piece right here held real strong. Proper 10 karat. 14 karat made it go away, so it's not 14 karat. I think this is probably full 10 karat. This got a little bit eaten, very, very, very slightly, so I'm thinking this is maybe slightly under 10 karat. But effectively you'd call the piece 10 karat. So for our $16.50, we basically doubled our money with as high as gold is right now. But more importantly, we got a really cool thing. Now, what I don't know off the top of my head, and I haven't actually researched it yet because you saw me just open this up, is what exactly is going on with this. W.O. Calbus is maybe the name. And then, of course, we have a Latin phrase here. I think we could probably plug this in, maybe even do a quick Google image search and figure out what this is. I'm not certain. And in a follow-up video, we can certainly figure out the history of it a little bit more. I'll probably make a short on that. If you're subscribed, hopefully my shorts are popping up for you. I'm trying to make more shorts on just specific pieces like this. Trying to use the format of the channel a little bit, or of the different options on YouTube a little bit better. So anyways, yeah, but I'm well pleased. I love grabbing little bits of gold, and I love it when it's very interesting little gold, which is what I think this is. And, you know, I love these handmade pieces. This stuff generally just gets melted down, so it's nice to be able to sort of rescue it. We also have a notion of age on this, and that's based on the pin. So this is probably based on how that pin is produced and made. You know, we're probably looking at late 1800s at the latest, maybe turn of the 20th century, but probably 1800s. So, all right. Now, the other thing that occurred while I was gone was, A, this was incredibly easy to disassemble, and B, these do test out as 14 karat, and I gave them a real good scratcheroo, and there's no indication that they're anything other than 14 karat. So we paid $6 for this in a consignment shop. Let's just see how much gold, and I guess silver, we got for our $6. So let's tear it. Why don't I set aside the gold first, and we'll see if we got $6 worth of silver. Now, the little rule of thumb, rule of thumb isn't the right way to put it. The calculation I've been doing for how much is silver worth is about $1 a gram for sterling. Silver's so high that seems to be about right. And about $1 a gram, I think, is what you can get if you brought something to a refinery, more or less. So when I find, if this is 6 grams of silver, the silver, and that's 7 grams of silver. So I feel like this bracelet already paid for itself. Now, shall we check to see how much gold we have? Now, this is 14 karat gold. Let's tear that again. So we are looking at, and you know, gold is funny. Like, putting this in my hand, it weighs more. It just has a gravity to it. So let's see, what do we got here? Oh, Nelly, 5.89. What happened to my calculator? Well, I think anyone who watches my channel knows what happened to my calculator. My children have made off with it. My 4-year-old really likes to pretend it's his phone. But for those of you out in YouTube land watching this, we got 5.89 grams of 14 karat, what, gold's, just for sake of ease, I think gold's fairly high, about $60 a gram for 14. So our $6 bracelet netted us what? $300? Is that right? Wow. Okay, so yeah, that bracelet was well worth buying. Now, here's another question for you, jewelry people. You saw the bracelet a moment ago. Feel free to rewind to it, and I can put this back together. There was this little split ring. Actually, I'm glad I did this because the split ring was coming off, and that whole thing could have just disassembled itself magically if somebody was wearing it. But yeah, so is the bracelet worth over $300? Is it a $350 bracelet? Or is it just kind of ho-hum? Is this the type of thing that scrapping would be applicable for, or would be something that you wouldn't really feel bad about doing? Because there is so much gold in that little bracelet. I don't know. I will say, though, this is definitely going to go into, I have a video of, actually, I'll reassemble this. I have a lot of pieces where there's gold mixed into silver, usually, pearls in one case, but sometimes it'll be gold with like other beads, other gemstones. But usually it's silver, and it'll be gold and silver. And when gold was cheap, I mean, at one point, you know, gold was $300 an ounce. Now it's, you know, $34 $400 an ounce. So at one point, making a piece like this wasn't really that expensive a proposition out of gold. And you could make a nice one out of gold. That's not the case anymore. So my suspicion is any piece like this is probably much more valuable as something that you're going to scrap than actually as a piece of jewelry. But, let me know in the comments what you think. With that, how about we just proceed through a few things? I've been buying all sorts of stuff when I've been out and about. If you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm always out at thrift shops for a couple reasons. One is that I'm a junkie, thrift shop junkie, and another is that I am picking up stuff for my kiddos. So I like to grab treasure while I'm out picking up things for kiddos. So like here, this is a good example of $1 at a garage sale. And I wanted to include it because this is obviously stainless steel. And if we zoom in, it'll tell you that. Reed and Barton, mirror steel, but the handle is sterling. So is there $1 worth of silver in there? Absolutely. I think there's probably $10 to $20 worth of silver in there. Of course, when you open up one of these, you'll find that there's a steel shank that goes all the way down in there. And then there's usually some kind of material around it. This one seems very solid, and I might be inclined to actually disassemble this one. Except I like it, and it's going to be used at Christmas because it's got a real nice stainless blade. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with it. But, yeah, that one is going into my for use at Christmas bin. So I'm sorry about not being able to disassemble it for the scrappers and tell you how much silver is actually in one of these things. But it's going to live. When I was on my road trip here getting agates, and I'm not sure when this video will come out. Maybe we'll have some of those Yellowstone agates. Agate videos will already be out. I hope so. I had a lot of fun on it. A number of things happened. One, I stopped off at a bunch of thrift shops and garage sale, well, no garage sales, but thrift shops and antique stores. And this was in with a bunch of silver plate. Now, their silver plate was $6 a piece, but this particular one with this nice hammered finish was not plate. So I felt justified in paying $6 for it. Now, what I haven't done yet, I'm not sure if you can hear them in the background, but the children are getting ready for school, and it's been a bit of a busy time. I haven't weighed it. So let's see. Did we get $6 worth of sterling for our $6? Doubled our money. So, I like this spoon a lot. I think it's really neat. And B, it's always nice to pay half spot for a bit of silver, right? So I'll just set that one aside here, actually. Put that right there. If you've been watching my shorts, this one got a lot of attention. I grabbed these earrings on half off day, so they were $3. And the interesting thing about this was that apparently they'd been trying to sell them for full price, gold full price for a while, and no one wanted them. So they just slapped a $6 sticker on them and put them out on the rack to make someone's day. Made my day. Now, they are pretty dainty. I think they're pretty, but they are pretty dainty. And if you didn't see the short, they are marked right there. $14K, and then I'm not sure what that other mark is. I'm thinking that's the maker. I've been so busy with going back to school stuff, I haven't really had the opportunity to look these up. Oh, they're very small. But, for $3. SG, it says. 14K. Shall we weigh them? See what our $3 got us in terms of gold weight. They are 0.73 of 14K. So what is that? $40, $50. Definitely worthwhile. And if you're just out and about and you're at a thrift shop, definitely haul your magnet along and check the earring rack, because paying $3 for $50, even if earrings aren't your jam, if you're just going to sell them to someone who does want them, it's a good way to fund your other like stacking. Say you like bullion, silver bullion, or say you like other kinds of antiques. There's no reason not to be grabbing this and saving it for someone who loves it. Okay, let us continue through this video right quick. I've got a lot of stuff. This is less of a goodbye, but you're probably wondering, why are these on the table? They're just some kind of plastic and not even very good. But if you flip it over, this is something that I have fun doing. See how nice that is? There's a reason for it. I see it right there. That one isn't anything. But that one is. Now the question is, did I get $4 worth of gold? I don't know. What, 60 bucks a gram for 14K? 0.15 of a gram. I think we made our $4 back. I feel confident that just from a gold standpoint, we did fine. But more importantly, boop. I just like finding these little backers. I don't know. It makes me happy. I can't explain it. All right. So what else do we have in here on our trip? We have a variety of things. Oh, I stopped by my grandpa's house, and he had a bunch of stuff that was going to sell at a garage sale. These two pieces I found interesting. Just a nice navy pin. I don't think it's precious. Yeah, I don't think it's precious, but that should go into my cool stuff bin at least. The USN might be sterling. These are usually marked sterling if they are, though. But this one I wanted to bring home because it's just a little initial pin, but I liked the marking on it. It says carrot clad. And I just found that very interesting. Because it definitely is. Sure seemed like gold. And I thought carrot clad must be some kind of euphemism for gold fill, because like you can see where we got the park view here, 1967. See how nice and sharp that is? You can tell that was engraved onto this after the piece was produced. So they didn't produce the piece, do the engraving, and then plate it. It was already a piece that had gold on it before that was done. Now, I'm not sure if this piece is magnetic. It is not. So I'm guessing this is some form of like gold fill. There's probably a fair bit of gold involved in this piece. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought I would throw that into my gold fill. I'd like to do a video at some point, and let me know in the comments if this is something that would interest you too, about all the different kind of markings you'll see on gold fill, so you have an idea that that's fill, because I've noticed there's a lot of stuff that's marked in all sorts of weird ways. All right, what else we got here? This piece looked like it was silver. South Bank Whalers. But I'm not certain. I thought I'd test it, although I'm starting to think my silver acid's gone off. So, I don't know. My silver testing hasn't been going very well for me. Speaking of silver, that was, just 50-cent bin. But speaking of silver, I thought, oh, this sure looks good for it. Size 9 thimble. This was in a pile of $3 thimbles. I didn't see any markings on it, but I also didn't see any indications that it was plated. I figured it would be worth gambling on and bringing home. I found the rim being smashed like that to be kind of interesting. But, well, we'll go ahead and run off and test this in a second. And I'll let you know, is it silver? Assuming my acid hasn't, completely failed me. And this one I thought was the same way, although, as you can see there, see my fingernail? This is, it's been worn all the way through somehow, or it was like that. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me if these are supposed to be, you can see how you got the holes going through there. I don't know if that is intentional. It almost looks intentional to me, but I don't understand what that would be for. And what I also didn't see was I didn't see any kind of markings on it, but I didn't see anything to indicate that this is anything other than a chunk of silver. And this one I paid $2 for. Thinking maybe the S indicates that it's for silver. I don't know. Leave a comment if you know. All right. So I will go ahead and take these away, all three of these pieces, and come on back and let you know, do they test good back? Okay. So a couple things I should note. I forgot about this. This, I believe, is a St. Christopher, like a St. Christopher medal that I think you mount to something, like maybe a boat or a car. And it fits. It actually does fit in there, despite my inability to put it back in. And I thought this might be silver. You know, it's not marked. There's no markings on it. And I'm not entirely sure what it is, because my silver test did not come up as positive. But I'll just leave it like that for right now. But I'm going to toss this into my, hopefully I can visit the XRF machine bin, because I don't know how I feel about my silver testing. I've tried the 18 karat thing, and then the silver test acid looking for red. And I can say out of these three pieces that we went and tested, this did not come up as silver, the piece that I was pretty sure was. So we're going to throw that in, and we'll see if we can hit the XRF machine with that and find out, is my silver testing going wacky? This piece did not test as silver, which wouldn't surprise me. This kind of has a look sort of like that St. Christopher's medal that I've noticed on some things that don't end up being silver. And I'm not sure if they're plate or what they're made of, but if I can get that tossed on the XRF machine, we'll find out what it is made of. Now, the thing that makes me think that my testing isn't going wrong and those things aren't actually silver is that this tested bright red, real positive for silver. And I think that's probably what that S indicates, because that one definitely is sterling, which makes sense. Of all the pieces, this was the one that I was most sure of being sterling. Question though, $5. So if you've got a thick thimble and you want to know how much silver's in it, about 5 grams, give or take. All right, let's continue through here. What other fun things do we have? Oh, you've probably seen this. This was in another video too, but I wanted to include this here. Well, I didn't intend to. It was just in the cup. But I wanted to show you another piece of 10 karat. This one, it's slightly under. I'd call it 9 karat if I'm selling it. You can call it 10 karat, though. I think most people would call it 10 karat. But again, it's another good example of that. The real thin piece, deep engraving, just like this piece. Obviously, it's bigger, though. And I bought that in an antique mall. And the other video where I talked about this, because I opened up a jewelry jar that I got for that antique mall, is probably up. I just wanted to have it here for comparison's sake so you can actually see. Now, I would also urge a little caution, despite me having found a couple of these recently. They are more often brass than they are gold. And if somebody polishes it up, it'll look a whole heck of a lot like gold. Because everything I've been telling you about it being real thin and the engraving not getting down to another metal will be present on a piece of brass. The thing is, if somebody polished, cleaned, or sealed it up properly, then it will look dang shiny. So always, if you're buying these thinking that they're gold, don't expect gold. Expect them to be brass. I cannot stress that enough. Whenever I buy one of these, my expectation is brass, even if my hope is gold. But yeah, these things are out there, and they don't seem to be marked when I find them. I'm not entirely certain why, but yeah, they're a real treat too, because this one, Thornwell Trade School for Orphans, 1911, best printing, presented by R.L. Anderson, Macon, Georgia, to Carlton Wynn. I just I just can't get over how cool that is. In any case, that's why that was sitting there. These, I think, I don't even remember where. Oh, I got these at a garage sale for $1, and I haven't even pulled them out yet. They looked like silver, and if they are, man, they are some goobed up. Yeah, there they are. Sterling. And the main thing I want to mention about these is don't discount the screwbacks or even the clipback earrings as being just, costume. They are more frequently than you would think made out of silver, and sometimes they're gold. And if these babies are gold, they are a good chunk of gold, so they are always worth a double check. This I just wanted to give you a closer look at. I'll link the video, the short where I found this. I don't know if I can do a pip there. Maybe I can, but I'll put it out the same day as this. I found this in the most ridiculous place. This cameo, and it is a true cameo. If we zoom in, you can see that it is carved. It's carved shell. And in fact, I think maybe if I backlight it, you can see. Yeah. You can see it's a natural material. You can see they carved down. It's a true cameo. Now, this was probably plated at one point. You can see it's brass around the edge, but it's old. You've got the pin that goes out beyond the edge, which indicates like mid to late 1800s probably. This is probably 1870s, 1880s, something in there, or at least of that style. It could be a little bit newer. You never quite know. But yeah, this was pinned to a ski jacket, like a cheap Jerry ski jacket. And I was in the store that sells stuff for 75 cents a pound, and I'm like, why is there a cameo on that ski jacket? So I took it off and paid my 75 cents a pound for this with my other stuff that day. And yeah, I just wanted to give people a closer look at it. And I don't know how much overlap there is between my shorts feed and my long form, but of all of the crazy places to find the nice old cameo, that was definitely the craziest. Okay, let's see if we can't get through the rest of our goodies. Speaking of cameos, I did pay $20 for this. I don't know. Did I show this in another video? I may be losing my mind. Hopefully my brain will function a little bit better once the kids are back in school, but who knows? So I paid either 10 or $20 for this. I want to say $20. We'll go with $20. And it took me a bit, but I think what we've got going on here is we have a cameo, and I think that this material, whatever this horn or whatever this stuff is what it's all made out of. And I think if you look close, you can see they dyed the top layer that deep red. And I think that's what's going on there. I'm not sure what this material is. It's a little warm to the touch. I don't know if anyone out there in comment land can tell me. Now, what I can say is that this piece is 10 karat gold. And it's old. You can see it's old Victorian. We got the old style construction, so, late 1800s. And the only marking on it is, I think, that, which I think is the initials of somebody. But I grabbed it because it was clearly solid gold. When you have an old piece like this that's, like one of these Victorian pieces. In fact, I'll compare. I'll show you something. Here we go. I got a little... I'm putting stuff in for a Victorian video here. Yeah, here we go. So you can see, like with a piece that's actually not solid, you can see the lines there. We've got brass, we've got karat gold. So this is like a plate of karat gold on top. And then you can see where it's actually placed on top. And then the fill itself, gold fill, when it gets old, you can see where it starts to wear through. See right there, where we have it coming through. And there's a real good example of the karat gold coming up exposing the brass underneath. So yeah, when something's as old as this piece, and you can definitely see a lot of age on it because like some of this engraving is actually worn down from time. When it's got that much wear on it, if it is a piece of fill, you're going to see on the high edges in particular the brass coming up. So I knew it was gold. I'm not sure if I weighed this. Obviously the pin is not gold, the cameo is not gold, so this gram weight isn't perfect, but for 3.5 grams of 10 karat, definitely worth the 20 bucks. So yeah, it's worth getting a handle on how much these things weigh. It's part of why I make the videos the way I do, is I like to give everyone an idea of how much these weigh. So you know what like a good buy is on a piece that you're certain is solid karat gold, but is unmarked. That's where you find the real fun deals. And if anyone can tell me exactly what's going on in that cameo, I'd really appreciate it. I'm pretty certain I've got it, that it's dyed or painted in some way, but I think like dyed would be a better way to put it. And whatever that material, that base material is, I'd love to know. I haven't been able to figure that one out. It's kind of unlike anything I've seen. All right, we will finish off this video with this. And again, if you watch my shorts feed, you will have seen where I found this. This was actually in a antique store, and just in with a bunch of silver plate. And when I grabbed it, the first thing that attracted me to it was that it's got a big dent here. So we're looking at some damage. We've got very fine work. This is all hand done. We got the hand engraving, and the important thing about this hand engraving is it's not exposing any kind of base metal. You look at the edges and the high edges, we've got dents, we've got damage, which is all good when it comes to trying to identify if something's silver, because this dent would be exposing base metal if it was. So I didn't know what this meant at the time, and I couldn't make out this, but it was $4.99. So for $5, I'm like, okay, this is silver of some variety. And when I figure out that mark, I'll know what variety it is. And I did figure out the mark. It's actually a mark I should have known, but I just didn't have an experience with. It's French. And the figure on it is Minerva. And the shape of the stamp, so where it's a square with those edges cut out, whatever shape that is. It's been a while since I learned my shapes. That indicates that this is a piece of 950 silver from France. So it's 95% silver, as opposed to sterling, which is 92.5% silver. So I thought that was pretty dang cool. No marks where you would think they would be, just a little bit more damage. But all that damage is good when you're looking at something as an object, because it tells you this thing's been through the ringer to a certain degree. And when silver plate has been through the ringer, like solid plate has been, it shows it. So now, one thing I have not done yet is weight it. It's been kind of killing me every time I see it. I'm like, I gotta make a video about that, but you know what? I'll wait to weigh it until everyone can share the pleasure with me. Take your bets now. How much does this thing weigh? 98 grams. So that's 98.5 grams of 950 silver. So what are we at? 100 bucks? $5 for 100 bucks? Can't complain about that. We'll see about getting this dent out. I think it's gonna be possible. We'll get it shined up. I'll probably make another short on it when I get it shined up. Yeah, keep an eye on my shorts feed for that. And we will drink out of this. This is a container, which is, I don't know, what should we put in there? Leave a comment. I was just gonna put beer in there because I usually put beer in there, but my friend did make some really good mead. I expect that. Mead? I don't know. In any case, I think we did pretty good overall in our adventures, and I'm pleased with my little eBay purchase here. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it, and it's really nice to see those subscriptions tick up a little bit here and there. The important thing, though, is that I hope you learned something that you can use to go out and find yourself some treasure.
Like this, I've been Thomas.